Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people conform to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. But first, thank you for subscribing to the channel and for all those likes. Today we have 4 great stories, so let's get right into them, shall we? The first story is called You Don't Want Free Service? I work for a water company in the UK, and a customer kept ringing about poor water pressure and ended up getting solicitors involved. So the company decided to carry out some checks on the external stop, which happened to be just inside the edge of his driveway. I and my teammate were allocated to the job, and I asked around if anyone else had been there. One of the guys said yes. I delivered letters a couple of days ago to let them know that the work was being carried out today. Off we go to the site. We both go down the stone track to let the customers know we were on site and to check if they needed to get their cars out before we started. One was an old lady who didn't drive, and the other asked us to wait 20 minutes until she got herself and her horse out. Us, being ever helpful, said yes, no problem, we'll have a coffee until you are out with your horse. The lady comes out on the horse, thanks us profusely for being patient with her, and off she goes. About 5 minutes later we start setting up the barriers around the work area, get the spades out ready when our car squeezed to a stop in the middle of the road. Mr. Angry jumps out and asks what do we think we are doing. So, being as I'm at work and always polite, I explained that we are here to dig the tap out to check the flow and pressure at the boundary to see if we could improve the situation for them. His very eloquent response was, "You can screw off if you think that you are going to dig up my driveway without even letting us know." So I explained that letters had been delivered a couple of days prior to let them know that we were coming, and it was to try and help them out with their problems. He has now turned purple with his tantrum and says, "Don't call me a liar. Nobody has let me know." "Okay sir, no problem. I'll pack up and move to my next job." He goes off on a torrent of expletives while my supervisor is saying what the heck is going on there. I said this is the customer that you can hear. He says pull away from that side and call me back and explain what caused that. My mate starts packing up while I ring my supervisor. Just as I start to explain to him, this guy comes to the van and says you can do the job now, I found the letter. I explain, as you stated that you don't want us digging up your driveway, I'm not prepared to carry out the work. I rang my supervisor back to explain the whole mess about how we had spoken to the wife and she was quite happy for us to do the job, and we had waited to let her out to save scaring the horse. Needless to say that the job was abandoned. The free work we were going to carry out didn't happen, and Mr. Angry had to pay someone about £5,000 to lay a new service when we could have resolved it for free by upsizing the existing pipes at the boundary for free. The next story is called Not Enough Space for You. To start off this tale of pettiness, coupled with that sweet revenge, I will give background as to why this outcome perplexed and enraged at the same time. I have lived on my own for a while now, and therefore have furnished the houses I live in. That means bathrooms, living rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, cleaning supplies, etc. When I moved into this new abode, I was no longer renting the entire house, just the master bedroom and the garage. The other rooms are rented by college students, ages 18, 34 and 63. I know, 63. Anyways, when I moved in, I asked the landlord about furnishing the house. And the reply was they would love for me to do that, and then other tenants can use my dishes and cookware and silverware. Pretty nice gesture to make for broke college students, right? Well, down the road, this assumption would be wrong. It has been 3 months with the kitchen and house fully stocked with room to spare for storage and shelf space. Suddenly, a rep from the housing company shows up and says she is here to help us organize and schedule cleaning. Okay. Thanks, new random unwanted mom. Note, I've been saying every month to the other tenants, if you want to put something in the kitchen or other places in the house, just tell me and we can move stuff around. Apparently this was too difficult, because now this lady is here putting labels with everyone's names on the shelves and drawers. We had the complaints of the other tenants. Everyone now has one cabinet and one drawer in this kitchen, and the space used is completely horrid. Instead of being able to use all of the space in a cabinet for plates, there are now 2 plates on a shelf in each cabinet, because everyone needed their own space. Also, there was plenty of empty cabinet and drawer space already. 4 weeks. Unused. Now I had to remove all of the shared cookware, bowls, plates, cleaning supplies, silverware, cups, etc. because they belong to me and I have no space for pantry food and all of that stuff in one cabinet. Well, since your children needed to have your space defined and labeled, and you seem to take for granted the fully stocked kitchen and household I have provided, let us now see how you like to have none of those things. The anticipation was almost too much to bear, joined by the rage inside. The third story is called No Paid Time Off. So, the company I worked for previously used to give us a set number of vacation days, 12, and a set number of personal days, 10. Vacation days were obviously for vacations and planning, but it was made clear to us that personal days were essentially sick days. They weren't for planning, more like you wake up sick and have to call out. Fine, whatever. The only problem with the personal days is, unlike vacation days, they would not roll over and you couldn't get paid for them. If you didn't use them, you lost them. HR policy prohibited managers from requesting doctor's notes or even asking what you were taking a personal day for. The only time that changed is if you were requesting something like short-term disability or something. So I'm working and, like most people, don't make holiday plans too far out in advance. I saved up some PTO to use at the end of the year, but not enough to take like both Thanksgiving and Christmas. Then the end of September comes around and management publishes a bulletin to the effect of too many people requesting off. No PTO will be approved for all of November and December. Now, obviously, this didn't go well with the department. 60 people on the team, many of which saved days to take around the holiday. And now we would either have to use our days in October or roll them over, max of 3 days. Knowing the managers, I elected to use my days in October. There was no guarantee that I would get to roll them over and use them. And you might be thinking, this is the malicious compliance. Everybody took off in October. Oh no, my friends, you have forgotten about the personal days, which yours truly, as a healthy 25 years old, has in spades. 6 left to be exact. Now cue malicious compliance. Thanksgiving comes around and I'm enjoying the holiday, but I think I ate too much. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to call out Black Friday. I mean today. I'm definitely not going shopping. I call out the next Friday as well, and the Friday after that, and the next as well. At this point you can see a trend. My manager did too. Calls me into her office to ask what's up. Obviously, I play dumb. She finally comes out and says, "You're calling out every Friday." Why? Personal days, I tell her. And this has nothing to do with your holiday PTO being rejected, she asks. Nope, I have accrued personal days and as of late I really need them. There was nothing she could do, and the beautiful part was I wasn't the only person doing it. The company changed the PTO policy not long after. The last story is called Follow the Contract. Back in the mid-2000s, I managed the IT contracts for a large company. They were purchased by an even larger company, and it became my job to renegotiate and assign the licensing and maintenance contracts to the new company. Most were agreeable, but the 3 biggest software companies saw it as a cash grab. This was about the time software licenses were moving from a per seat to a per processor model. The giants wanted to enforce that change. I'd already done the work and figured out headcount v processor count and which heads needed access, so I knew what we were paying for more than was necessary. The first giant shut up when I told them we would remove the software from the 90% of machines not using it, but they could have their per processor licenses and the corresponding maintenance adjustment. The company buying us dropped their licenses and absorbed our overage the next year. The second giant agreed to a steep discount on the change in licenses if we didn't touch the maintenance contract. The third was having none of it, and we actually mostly used their software. Alongside the change in licenses, they insisted on attaching the usual increase in maintenance fees for the entire company, not just the division being purchased to a specific consumer price index. In the end, we wound up paying a very minimal fee, about $1,000, to get things done ahead of regulatory deadline for the purchase of the company. The next year was ugly. We went several rounds about the exact amount of maintenance because the index gets adjusted after the fact. We paid them. Then they credited us when the number changed. Twice. The account rep got ugly and the last email to me was, "The contract says what it says." At the end of year 1, the housing market collapsed. For the first time ever, the index was negative. The contract was written as, "Fees shall be equal to the designated index." Whatever the index said, that was the percentage of the software cost to be paid as the fee for maintenance and support services. Cue the malicious compliance. Giant 3 was sent a bill for over $1 million US. Yes, it was that big of a contract. The account rep called, screaming his head off, and I told him, "The contract says what it says. Please put your concerns in an email I can discuss with the bosses." He did, and I was able to hand the whole thing off to the legal department. 2 weeks later, legal hosts a meeting. Giant 3 has given us a new rep, an agreement to pay the full amount in quarterly installments, and wanted to revisit the contract. The meeting was quick and very much to the company's benefit. Afterward, I was offered a position in legal, doing more of the same, but declined as I was starting my own consulting business. I still consult with them occasionally. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories in today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.